Today on the Cellar Australia, we're at Wren Estate in central Victoria's Heathcote region. Famous for its outstanding Shiraz, this boutique winery stands out for its ancient soils and unique winemaking approach. We're going to meet Michael Wren, the winemaker behind these exceptional wines, blending tradition and innovation to bring us some outstanding yet affordable wine. Join us as we learn the age-old technique of stomping grapes before we pair it all with a delicious platter made with some local produce. Join me, Yazmin, and let's uncover the secrets behind Wren Estate. Heading up into the hills above Wren Estate, we're on our way to meet Michael. A graduate from the University of Adelaide, Michael's winemaking journey has taken him from the vineyards of Portugal to the valleys of Napa. His global experience is now the driving force behind the distinct wines that are crafted here. Let's find out more about Michael and his stunning winery. Hi Michael, thank you so much for having us here at your winery, Wren Estate in Heathcote.
Yazmin, you're very welcome. Great to have you here.
Thank you. Now you have quite the prolific resume when it comes to wine. You've travelled and worked all over the world. How come you've decided to settle your winery here in Heathcote?
It maybe found us, right time, right place. We were looking for a year and a half before we found this place. Heathcote was perfect for me in terms of my background and the regions where I'd mostly been making wine. My background was with making fuller-bodied wines. Finding somewhere north of Melbourne was always going to be the best option for us. That it was the wrong size for most people, but it was perfect for us.
It's absolutely beautiful as well. It's a stunning little spot that you've got up here.
It is. You're here at a good time, actually. Things have just quietened down. We're finished the vintage, so we finished picking a few weeks ago. So you can see the vines are now moving into their lovely autumn colours. It's been a difficult vintage. We had a lot of rain early on and then not much rain at all. And so the poor old vines, I think they're in need of a bit of a rest. But they've done well this year. The fruit came off looking spectacular, so very happy.
So we're going to have a good season coming out of it?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit smaller, but the quality's fantastic. So
that's what we like.
All the hard work that went on early in the season has paid off, so we're pretty happy.
Fantastic. This is all your vines sort of behind us?
This is ours, yeah. We're a bit under 15 hectares of vineyard, all sitting just over 20 years old, and then we've got another 8 hectares of olives down the bottom.
Just an extra little hobby to have?
Yeah, vintage with the grapes wasn't enough, so we thought we'd have 2,000 olive trees down there as well.
I don't know that.
Just to keep us busy.
Now that we've delved into some of the history of Wren Estate, it's time to taste the fruits of Michael's labour. Let's uncork a bottle of his Shiraz and experience the exquisite flavours that have earned Wren Estate its esteemed reputation.
So this is one of our Shiraz. So this is the Games of Foot Shiraz. This one I thought was a good intro to us and to our wines and what we're about here. We're 4 blocks, but we're a lot more blocks when you actually break up what we're sitting on here. And this was one of the keys that interested me looking at this vineyard when we were coming to buy it. In terms of the Shiraz here, we've actually got 16 different clone and rootstock combinations of Shiraz. So each one of those becomes its own block. We pick each block separately, ferment separately, and then after the vintage, I put them back together the way I think they sit best. So it's kind of a nice way just to ease into us and to what we're about.
Should we try some?
Cheers.
Cheers. If that's your entry level,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to see what.
Pretty happy with this one. So it's very much a reflection of place. Heathcote, even as our entry level, you can still see there's plenty of fruit coming through there. It's got a beautiful body to it without being heavy, because we want the range to build as we go through.
Yeah.
So this one's very much got a fruit focus to it. I pair the oak back a little bit on this one, so only 10 months in 2- and 3-year-old barrels, really letting the fruit be the focus. And this one's a combination of 5 different small blocks. So predominantly blocks 3 and 4 that sit about halfway up this northern side of the vineyard here. Each of the different blocks represents a different clone and rootstock. So we do have some portions where we have the same clone, but it's in a different part of the vineyard. So then different things come into play, such as aspect, soil, altitude. So even though it's the same clone, it might look slightly different just because of its location.
Okay, interesting. Well, this is delicious. So I'm definitely looking forward to
Good
seeing
start.
what else is coming up. Yeah,
Looking
not
forward to
bad.
showing you.
Thank you. It's time for us to head down from the hilltop and head indoors. We're about to uncover the secrets of the fermenter, which isn't quite what I expected. Let's explore Michael's traditional winemaking processes and see how they contribute to the unique character of his wines. Now this looks like not your usual type of fermenter.
This one's a little bit different. These
Yeah.
I sourced intentionally after my time in Portugal. They're based on the design of what they call lagage, which are the open fermenters that you use up in the Douro, and now more widely in Portugal, but were specifically for port wine production. And not just port wine, vintage port production. So the most premium, the most extracted, the most powerful. The wine only has to be worked very, very lightly for the remainder of the fermentation. I sourced these specifically to be able to replicate that process.
And you do the stomping yourself?
We do on our premium. We'll get in there. There's normally kind of 4 of us. We'll get in, do the 4 hours. There's a bit of wine lined up on the side, so it gets a little bit rowdy by the end of the 4 hours. But yeah, people kind of love it for about the first 5 minutes, and after that they lose a bit of interest in it. But it's a really important part of our process and part of the character of our wines.
All right, well, I think for today, I'm going to keep my shoes on, but maybe we can go into the cellar door and have a look at some more wines.
Let's go and have a look at some wines and maybe have some lunch.
Love it.
Let's go.
All right, I'm definitely ready for some more wine. Let's head inside Wren Estate's beautiful cellar door. We're going to meet Michael's wife, Barbara, who has laid out a stunning platter. I absolutely love the vibe in here. Let's find out where the inspiration came from.
We actually went to France, just before COVID start, and then we went to Burgundy and Bordeaux, and there's amazing chateau there, the old world, the bricks and stuff like that. And then we're just thinking, why we don't bring that back to Australia? And then obviously during COVID, Michael did a lot of work himself and put his input. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did the work, but Barbara comes up with the designs, so it's all her inspiration. She's got a good eye for design and layout and all that sort of thing. I'm pretty hopeless. I can't sort of see things until they're in place, but Barbara sees them.
Makes you a good team.
Yeah, I think so.
And I noticed there are a few picnic tables and tables outside.
Yeah, the weather here in spring, especially and summer, is stunning. So to sit in front of the vines on a nice day and have a platter and a bottle of rosé or Marsanne or something like that, not a terrible way to spend an afternoon.
What a way. I love it. Join me after the break as Michael takes me back out to the vineyard. We'll be exploring Block 9, where Wren Estate's premium grapes are grown. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Cellar Door Australia. Michael is about to lead us into the vines, where we'll get a first-hand look at the origins of some of the premium wines he crafts here at Wren Estate. Let's discover the source of these exquisite Shiraz grapes.
So Yazmin, we're just walking down here into the top of our north block. This is where actually our premium fruit tends to come from, that goes into either our premium single blocks when we do release them. And the idea is that they'll only be released maybe 3 times a decade, only when we have absolutely exceptional vintages. So we've got Block 9 here, which is a wine we're going to have a look at a little bit later on. Block 9 is only 4 rows, so we're already moving into Block 8 here, which is 12 rows and a completely different clone of Shiraz.
Yeah, and so close together as well. And
absolutely.
So
this is kind of one of the keys to us when we got here and had a look at what we're really sitting on. But when you look and you've got all the different clone and rootstock combinations, they all throw up different characters, flavours. You've actually got a lot of different wines to deal with and play with. You're not just dealing with 16 Shiraz that look the same. They actually often look quite different, so that we can catch something exceptional rather than just putting it into a tank with 3 different blocks, because that's how much space there is in a tank.
And it gives you a wider profile as well of wines that you can create.
It gives me more fun to play around. This is one of the big things I learnt from Portugal, very much old world winemaking techniques. If you had a variety that you loved, but maybe it had low acid or low tannin, especially in warm years, you needed to grow other varieties around it so that you could blend those in, produce a complex and balanced wine. And you look at them by themselves and they look nothing like each other. And for me, that's a real skill. When you're taking 4 different varieties that look nothing like each other, putting them together in different percentages year after year, and something which I really appreciated picking up from my time in Portugal and wanted to bring here.
And you mentioned briefly that you do hand pick.
Everything's 100% hand-picked here. We can't because, as you can see, 4 rows, our blocks are so small, we might pick 8 times a vintage or more. So we're only taking small parcels at a time when I think the grapes are perfectly ripe. So we're basically just taking the very, very best quality fruit into the winery. It's a lot more expensive and time-consuming, but it's well worth it.
Let's keep on wandering through the vines. It's time to go and have a look at block 1. So which block are we in at the moment?
So this is an interesting little block. This is actually block 1, but it's better known to us as the SRM block.
And what does SRM stand for?
So SRM stands for Shiraz, Roussanne, Marsanne. So Roussanne and Marsanne are both white varieties, and Shiraz is a red variety, of course. When we first took over here, I was going through inspecting the vineyard, and when I hit this block, I'm walking down rows of beautiful Shiraz grapes, then all of a sudden, white bunches start popping out in front of me.
Unexpectedly.
And I hadn't been told anything about it, but it all made sense when I went to the end of the row and had a look at the map and what used to be here. It used to be Roussanne, which is a white variety. So I thought, rather than just throwing it out or not using the white grapes, we could create a new wine from that. I had to go through and then check every vine and work out what sort of our percentages were in terms of fruit to make sure there was enough. And fortunately, the very next block, sort of 3 rows down, is our Marsanne, which is our white. So that Marsanne just tops up the percentage a little bit. So we normally end up with around about 5% of white fruit. And it's not massively overt the way Viognier is in terms of its fruit, but it just adds a lovely oiliness and silkiness to the wine. So it doesn't take it in too far of an off direction, but just adds a little bit of character to it.
And this is the SRM?
This is SRM 2019. So this was the first vintage of this wine. It then spent just over 12 months in new 500 litre French puncheons as well. So not looking to overpower the oak, but just to, again, work with the quality of the fruit.
Delicious. Very delicious.
Yeah, it's a lovely little wine, this one. It's not, as I said, it's not a big wine. And I very much like having brightness in our wines, even if they've got weight, concentration and power. I still want them to be bright and fresh.
Yeah.
And that white fruit just helps that along. As I said, it doesn't change the flavour direction too much, but Roussanne especially is known to be quite an oily and honeyed variety, and it just adds that little bit of silkiness and smoothness to the palate and gives it a bit of length as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely get all of that in there. That's lovely. Let's head back to the cellar door now. I'm feeling a little bit peckish, and I think I could use a platter to pair with all this delicious wine. Well, this is quite the spread you've put on for us. Now, you generally offer this kind of food at the cellar door?
Yeah, Barbara's an amazing cook chef. She comes up with incredible dishes, and she's very much generous in terms of the portions that she likes to serve. So this is actually a platter for 2. We do platters for 2 and 4. But also handmade Chinese dumplings, which she does on a pot sticker. So 5 different flavours, and you get 5 of each with a little bit of vinegar. One of her lovely Caesar salads over here, and she also does some anchovies and caprese salads and a few different things. So this is the normal menu. We do occasionally special events. We've got one coming up for the Heathcote show long weekend where Barbara's doing 3-course Peking duck lunch for that. So she's pretty clever.
Barbara, quite the chef.
Trying to be, yeah.
All right, I think we should try some.
Yeah, let's have a look at this one. So this is Elementary, which is as I mentioned, our reserve blend. So blends of small different blocks of Shiraz from the home vineyard. All 3 blocks come from the top of the north side of the vineyard where we were having a look a little earlier today. And over the years we've been here, I've found that's where our really premium fruit tends to come from for the wines that we want to age. So it's 100% of block 9, about 70% of block 8, and about half of block 6.
That's...
So 24 months in barrel. You can see the silkiness and beautiful weight without being heavy or overpowering that the wine has. Again, that bright red fruit, but then that lovely underlying darkness that follows through.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to it. It's amazing. As Michael mentioned earlier, they're not only harvesting grapes during vintage, but also olives too. Let's find out what makes these olives so special.
Firstly, their age. They're just up over 20 years old now, so they're sitting in a beautiful spot in terms of neediness. They're actually very, very low maintenance. They're sitting in a really nice space. Olives are a bit of a grind for the first 8-10 years. You don't really get any fruit off them until they reach that point. We've got 4 different varieties, and very similar to what we do in the vineyard, we do the same in the olive grove. So we pick all 4 varieties separately. We pick them at a point where a couple of the varieties are looking really ripe and nice and rich, and a couple which are slightly later ripening are still got a little bit of a green character to them. Like to blend a little bit of the rich with a little bit of the bright and green, just to give it some really nice complexity, some spiciness, but also a bit of richness as well.
Nice balance.
And this one is Piquois. You know, one of the olives, they call it Piquois. This is very green and very spiced. If you can, see the color is very green as well. The other kind, like, is more golden. This is more green, if you can see from there.
Sensational. I love it. We've got all sorts happening. We've got the food, we've got the olive oil, we've got the wine.
Yeah,
we're all sorted.
Previous owners were Italian, so I think it's very much an Italian. Having the olives and the grapes in the same property is a really nice thing to have, and having beautiful food to go along with it kind of just brings it all together.
I love it. After the break, we're going to try out Michael's one and only white wine, then move on to the premium Shiraz selection. Stay tuned for more delicious wines from Wren. We'll see you soon. Welcome back to the Cellar Australia. We're at Wren Estate and we've tasted several reds already, so it's time to cleanse our palate with a white wine. So we started with some of your amazing reds. Now we're going to try your one and only white wine you've got here. Tell me a little bit about it.
We're going to do a little palate cleanser just to break things up. So this is our Marsanne. So Marsanne's a white variety that grows in the Rhone Valley alongside Shiraz. So it would make sense that varieties like Marsanne, so Marsanne, Roussanne, Viognier are the 3 main white varieties that grow in the northern Rhone, where Shiraz or Syrah comes from in France.
So what are some of the key characteristics of a Marsanne?
Well, I think it kind of speaks for itself a little bit. So I'll give you some to taste, then we can go through it.
You're gonna put me on the spot here.
Yeah.
Bit of a test.
Back you, I think you'll be all right with this one. So this is our 2020 Marsanne. Not a massively overt variety on the nose, very pretty on the nose, but very much about the palate on this variety.
It's very light, a little bit sparkly, fruity, pear.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, a touch of citrus. So you nailed the main components of Marsanne. Really nice citrus acid backbone. So I like to pick ours just a little bit early to make sure I catch that natural acidity. And so that's what we're talking about when we talk about brightness, freshness in the wine. So I want that to be a really key component of this wine. So citrus tones, a little bit of pear, touch of honeysuckle as well, tends to be one of the characters we get in ours. We'll hand pick it, we'll whole bunch press it so we don't crush it or to stem the fruit before it goes in the press, just trying to keep the berries intact as long as possible. Reduce oxidation. Whilst there's still lots of solids floating around from the fermentation, I transfer 50% across to old barrels. We're talking 20, 25-year-old barrels, so there's no oak flavour left in them anymore.
Oh, okay.
But they just provide a really nice oiliness and texture to the wine. So I only do it on half of it. I'll leave the other half in tank to keep that real fresh, crisp, bright acid backbone in there, and then after 6 months put the 2 portions back together. So a little bit of texture coming through from the barrels on this one.
Yeah, right. It's quite the perfection you've got there.
It is one of the few white varieties that can actually age beautifully as well, which is kind of where our reserve Marsanne comes in as well. So this one's now getting on 2 years old, but it's still in barrel because it still needs more time. The brightness and the freshness and the intensity's there. We're just trying to give it a little bit more richness and oiliness. So it's probably not far away, probably 2 to 3 months, and then we'll pull it out and bottle it.
Okay, that'll be on the shelves.
Well, we've got the 19, which is in bottle, and I bottled that about 18 months ago, and it's not ready yet. So this is one of the keys to Marsanne. It actually does age beautifully. So I'm waiting for the 19 to get a little bit more bottle-rich character to it before we release that one. So that one will come out first, and then this one.
And then we'll see this one.
Yeah.
All right.
So we're almost there on this one. Yeah, maybe 2 or 3 months.
Oh, I can't wait to see it
Yeah,
on the shelves.
That's one of the frustrating things about some wines. You just need to let them wait.
You have a little bit of patience.
Yeah, it's something I'm a bit short on, unfortunately.
There's no instant gratification in this business.
No, there's not. No, unfortunately there's not. But yeah, it's all right. The 19's not far away, I think. Okay. So we'll enjoy that one and let this one sit.
We'll keep an eye out for that one then. Before we leave, Michael and Barbara have one last surprise in store for us. A very special vintage from 2018 with vines named after Michael himself.
I thought we'd have a look at MXW, which is one of our premium single blocks from the 18 vintage. Ties in nicely with where we were up in the vineyard this morning. This was a special block, and normally our blocks get a number, like block 6, block 8, block 14. But production on this one was completely different to the others, and it was very much about my background in Portugal and how we did things over there. So we thought we'd give it my initials, something a little bit different just to set it apart. So this one was 100% whole bunch. So we didn't crush or to stem any of the fruit, but we foot trod a whole lot of it for 4 hours. So all the stalks were in there for the entire fermentation. There was quite a lot of green tannin in the wine, and so I knew it was going to need a lot of time to settle out in barrel. So I put it in some beautiful 1-year-old 500 litre French barrels, and then we just basically set it away. And it just happened after around about 31 months, the tannins finally dropped away, and this beautiful fruit just came driving through. Because of that foot treading, the structure of the wine is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, it's incredibly aromatic.
Yeah, but there's just a wonderful structure to it. It's very silky without being heavy.
Very chocolatey, isn't it?
It's chocolatey, a little bit spicy. It's
some beautiful bright raspberry and red fruits on the palate, but then
bit
some
of
denser
sweetness
darkness.
to it.
Yeah. So this one's very much a baby, and it's actually beautiful to drink over a couple of days. We'll have it open for 3 days, and it'll just continue to open up over that time.
Is it very often that one bottle will last you 3 days?
I'm never allowed to open them. The boss is also our accountant here. I get in trouble if I open any single box. So it's only for special occasions.
Well, thank you for the honour. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it.
You're welcome. So, I mean, this is what these wines are for, to share with people, and especially share with some beautiful food. So it's a pleasure to open them.
It's amazing. I can't even explain it. So thank you.
You're welcome.
From traditional pressed grapes to premium homegrown winemaking, I think I've discovered a little slice of heaven here in Heathcote. Thanks for watching The Cellar Door. It's been an absolute pleasure. My name is Yazmin, and I'll see you next time.